Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is your boy Rich. Welcome to another show. Welcome to another episode of the Fuel by Generosity podcast. We are live today, and it's going to be another great show. I have an amazing guest with me. Not just a guest, a brother, man. Somebody I've called brother for the past, I'll say 5, 6, 7 years, actually. An amazing man, an amazing leader, an amazing servant. But as you all know, this is the Fuel by Generosity podcast. And as I always say, this show is designed to engage and bring those of you who, support Generosity Global, will donate to Generosity Global, and you want to know more about what we do and want to get closer to our operations, our mission, our brand. We designed this show as a way to, connect you to everything that we do at Generosity Global. We're still working on giving you more information on that. We are still working on getting you more connected, and over the years, over the months, you will see over the months you will see us do more things to engage you, our listeners, engage you, our donors, engage you, our partners, to be truly connected to the fabric of Generosity Global. But as you all know, Generosity Global, we are based in Columbia, Maryland, and stateside here in America, we focus on two primary programs. We, provide mobile shower access to people who are experiencing homelessness. And so we built this amazing shower truck we call Generosity Shower, and it has 5 individual stalls, and people come there that do not have access to shower, and they take a shower with us. And next month, towards the end of next month, we are going to start season 3 of our shower program. Up to date, we have been blessed and fortunate to give over 5,000 showers to people experiencing homelessness. And so we are excited to add more impact to our operations, and actually excited to now take it from 3 days a week to 5 days a week, and possibly 6 days a week. So we are definitely, doing our part to ensure that everybody who needs a shower in Baltimore City can have access to Generosity Shower. And as you all know, every second Saturday and now third Saturday of the month, we have Selfless Saturday. And Selfless Saturday is our premier program where we cook home cooked meals and invite our guests who are experiencing homelessness to come and partake in a healthy meal, in a joyous meal, in a tasteful meal. 2 Saturdays now a month, and we have seen this program go from 2 people, and pre-COVID days we had nearly 150 volunteers who are coming out to volunteer with us, serving close to 400 people who are either homeless or just need something to eat for the day. And we are definitely adding more fuel to it, because more is to come, and we are excited where we are. And then in the continent of Africa, specifically Cameroon and Kenya, we are working to bring clean drinking water to people in remote villages. And to date, we have successfully drilled 20 wells and have brought clean drinking water to nearly 40,000 people. And we are, as you all know, we are in the midst of a campaign to purchase our own drilling rig, which is going to allow us to drill more wells and bring impact to more people. And alongside of that is part of our sustainability program, Generosity Women, that focus on women's hygiene and focuses on women and their menstrual cycle, and educating them and teaching them and uplifting them with curriculums and manufacturing of reusable pads that they not only use, but now they know a trade that they can anchor their lives to and impact their communities. But overall, that's what we do at Generosity Global. And then the other side of the Fuel by Generosity podcast is to highlight people in the community, locally, globally, who are using the power of generosity, who are using the power of service, who are using the power of positivity to do good in their communities and around the world. People who are committed to serving mankind, who are committed to serving humanity, who are committed to making a change. And today we have an amazing man, amazing brother who has dedicated his life, has written books when it comes to, service and service of others, and specifically challenging men, inspiring men, and equipping men to become servants of one another and servants of our community. So without further ado, I think that's how you say that word. I know I don't usually say it a lot, but without hesitating too long, I want to introduce to you all my brother, Reginald Gant. I keep saying Gant, but Gant. How are you, Reg?
Rich, it's a pleasure, man. I'm excited to be here. I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome, brother. Thank you. I butchered your last name, but it is actually Gant, not Grant. I always, we always mix it up, but let's get it right. Mr. Reginald Gant. How are you?
Doing fantastic, man.
Good, good. Welcome to the Fuel by Generosity podcast, bro.
Love it. Love it. Such a fan. We brothers. You and I actually go back, bro, to 2013, man.
That's what it is.
Yep. It's coming up on 8 years. The first time I met you, if I'm not mistaken, was April or May of 2013.
Yep.
And our wives were doing an event together, and you and I spoke on the men's panel.
Yep.
And life has been different ever since.
Yeah, I think, how many, 10, almost 8 years later, multiple kids and,
Kids.
but still the same lives, right?
Absolutely. God has brought us a mighty long way.
Yes, indeed. Tell me, how's the family doing, bro?
Family is good, man. Wife, beautiful wife upstairs. She's probably tuning in, man. We have 5 beautiful children.
Hey, B.
Ranging in ages, man. From our oldest is going to be 21 this year, man, down to baby, who's just 3. He'll be 4 months, actually, next week.
Man, you know what? Congratulations on the newborn. And it was another boy.
4 boys, 1 girl.
4 boys, 1 girl.
A lot of testosterone in this house.
There you go. I mean, you got us beat by 1 boy.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Overall, we are grateful. But now, literally, our wives are best of friends. They go way back and are just women who true friends and connected to each other on a deeper level. And I think that's how we came to be.
Absolutely.
Because of them.
Absolutely. It's virtually impossible to have your wives be best friends and you not have some kind of relationship, with the husband or the significant other of the best friend,
Yeah.
But in our situation, when you were not connected, it was easy. It wasn't forced. It wasn't fake. It wasn't phony.
That's it. That's it. And I think, for you, I know we connected because we had this passion of service. We had this passion of being selfless. We have this passion of leadership and not just mediocrity, but greatness, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's why we just keep connecting, because I see what you're doing and I see how you're doing it. And though we have not been in a physical setting in a long time together, we are always just a phone call away, a text message away. And I see what you're doing, bro. I'm proud of you and all of that stuff, man.
Likewise, man. I mean, like I was telling you, a couple of days ago, whenever you make a new move, whenever you make a new decision, man, I'm just excited. I saw that it looks like you have some, looks like you may be doing some Airbnb type work going on in Africa. You're creating some, was it villas that I saw?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
I'm just like, I love everything about it, and it's that grind, right? Because you and I, being fathers, we have to leave that legacy, right?
Yeah.
We have to put in our years and our hours and our time now so that our children can be the benefactors of that.
Absolutely. I cannot agree anymore. I mean, it really is all about that. And it comes down to legacy. And when we serve and when we do and we give, when we engage others, it's really about how can we build up our fellow brothers and sisters so they themselves can be equipped to transfer that which we have seen to the next generation. So, Reg, man, let's jump into why we are here. We are talking about service and generosity, man. For those who do not know who you are, let's start. Who is Reginald Gant? Who is Reggie?
That's a great question, man. And honestly, at the end of the day, I would say that Reginald Gant is a servant at heart, right? I'm all about not only how can I push myself to the next level, how can I make myself better, but at the core of all cores, my wife and I say my wife and I as well, we are literally servants out to encourage and equip and inspire, everybody to step up into, what is meant for them. So specifically what I've been doing lately, Rich, is that I've been working with men, right? Fathers, husbands, and I've been helping them step up into their leadership roles as protectors and providers, because what I want at the end of the day for men is that I want them to live life with a clear conscience and without regrets. And there's nothing worse than a man, who has regret in his life from the things that he could have, should have, would have done. So I'm all about, how can we, put it into those excuses? How can we put it into that fear? How can we just take that first step? Right? Because you'd be surprised once you take that first step, how much easier things can get once you take that second and that third. Yeah. So at the end of the day, servant, man. I mean, you catch me at your local party, I'm the guy that's helping to set up, helping to break down. We see somebody that may be in need, how can we help? And that's just how I've been raised. So that's just at the core of who I am.
Amen. I love it. Again, welcome to the Fuel by Generosity podcast. If you're just tuning in, you are in for a good one today. If you're watching and you want to interact with us, please watch the show on the Generosity Global Facebook page or the Fuel by Generosity podcast page. That way, if you want to leave a comment, I can post it up on the screen. Reggie can see it, and we can interact with you. Make sure you stop by. Make sure you give some love, some likes, some hellos, so we can feel connected to you. But man, let's get back. Let's just rewind that tape, man. You talked about being at a party and the one that is helping others set up.
Yeah.
What is the beauty in doing that?
Yeah, I take the Bible's approach to service, right? God asked the question in the Bible, and I'm a man of extreme faith, and so are you, again, which is why we easily connected. God asked the question, in the Bible, who's greater, the one who serves or the one who lays back and reclines at the table? Right? And in the world's eyes, the one who reclines back at the table waiting to be served is greater.
My.
God, according to his word, says that the greatest among you will serve. So when I hear God say that, and when I read that in my Bible, and I believe that my Bible is my instruction for daily living, when God is saying that the greatest among us will serve, in my mind, if I want to be great, God has already told me what do I need to do.
Wow.
So that means that I need to be the one that's serving, because service to many leads to greatness. So I'm all about it. Anyway, any shape, any form, any fashion. I mean, we do it all the time. Sometimes I get paid for it. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's out of the kindness of my heart. And at the end of the day, God has always met my needs, because I'm making sure that the needs of those around us, if I can help and assist, are met.
Yeah.
I got somebody a job just 2 days ago, Rich. Somebody called me, asked me, did I know somebody, who will be looking for work?
Yeah.
I made one phone call. I asked somebody. I was like, hey, you got 2 sons. Either one of them looking for work? He was like, yes. I patched them in. Within 15 minutes, son got a job, Rich.
How about that?
One phone call, and that's what I'm all about. Like, how can I help somebody else? And then the only thing that I expect is, guess what? Now that you've been blessed, turn around and pay that forward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is. There's this richness in living your life in service to others, and we will unpack that because there's so much to it. Yeah. There is the beneficiary side of people who are being blessed, but then there's the labor side where you actually have to put in the work
Yeah.
and the consistency. But it starts again, if we can rewind this tape, with you talked about taking a first step.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell our audience about the power of taking that first step when it comes to serving and being of service to others.
Absolutely. So I'm a firm believer that there's extreme power and decision making, period. And over the course of my life, I've realized that greatness, leadership, those who have success, those who are affluent, those who are wealthy, they are really good at making decisions.
Mm.
So what I've also noticed and what I found to be true is that when you make a decision, God actually begins to walk beside you as well, because what God is looking for is that faith, right? So many people have wishes and dreams, right? And goals and hopes and all of that. But the power comes when you actually get off the fence, you make a decision, and you begin to walk into the unknown. You begin to walk into uncertainty. But you're doing that because you have faith and trust that God is going to go ahead and take care of you, right? What I've noticed over the years is that when I've made a decision, when I've gotten off the fence and I've moved forward, God has already been waiting on me, and he's unlocked doors, he's unlocked opportunities, he's unlocked people. But it takes us to make that decision, to make that first step, to see what comes next. A lot of us are bound by fear, and the Bible says that, God has not given us that spirit.
Yeah.
But instead, he's given us power.
Yeah.
Right? He's given us love. He's given us sound mind.
Yeah.
So we have to exercise our power, and there is power in decision making.
Yeah.
If we could just make that first decision.
True. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I always advise and counsel people, like, every step you take unlocks your potential. Every step you take, right? The more you sit on that sideline, the more you sit thinking and overthinking and over faith in it, because we can over faith things, we can over faith decisions. We can wait for too long and the opportunity passes us by. But the longer you sit on that sideline, the more you keep your potential locked up and trapped. And we have been put on this planet to unleash a potential that can touch every corner of this world, touch every life. And I sometimes, see people who are sitting on so much, who are sitting on this much potential. And as you said, sometimes they want to be served as opposed to being the ones who are serving others, right? It's kind of like backwards. It's kind of like, no, greatness is not in being served. There's a time and place for that, right? When we go on our trips to some country on a vacation, yes, there is that team that is there just for you. But at the same time, I don't know about you, when I'm there, I'm always wanting to serve them, right? I'm always wanting to make sure that their lives are better because of my presence,
right?
It is so key and so important. But when it comes to service, you found a niche group, and you specifically wanted to speak to men. Why men? Why men?
So back in 2009, that's a phenomenal question too, by the way. God began to pour into me and whisper into my ears, Rich, that I would be a leader of leaders and that I would be a leader of men. Now we're talking about 2009. And if I can be transparent with you and the entire audience who's watching live and on the replay later, in 2009, Rich, I mean, I'll take this joke from one of my good friends. He says I could barely lead two people in silent prayer. Right? My life was a mess in 2009. Right? So God began to tell me in one ear, you're going to lead leaders and you're going to lead men. And I'm saying to myself, I can't even lead myself. Like, I'm a train wreck. Right? And then as time goes on, God's word became true. And I remember one night, my wife and I were having a conversation. It was in 2019. It was a whole decade later. And the epiphany just dropped on me in 2019, as I was leading the men's ministry at my church, leading men. By 2019, I had also formed a business. My wife and I had a few businesses together, and we were also leading leaders. So whereas in 2009, I didn't have that belief, I look back 10 years later, God's words were true. But why men specifically, Rich, you and I, we know what it's like to grind. We know what it's like to struggle. We know what it's like to want it all, but have to go through the journey and the process. We break down, we fail, we cry behind the scenes, we get stressed out. And what I've realized is that men needed a safe space. There's some things that I can talk to my wife about. There's some things that I can't talk to my wife about because it needs to be talked about and discussed in the presence of other men, right? Because men know what men go through. And what I realized when I looked up, there was a lot of women's empowerment everywhere. You know, girls' trips, women empowerment conferences, and I love that. I take nothing away from that. But I saw that men who were like me, men who were working, they were professionals, they were entrepreneurs, they were business owners, right? They were dads, they were husbands. I didn't see a space for us to gather together and to just take off our Superman capes and be vulnerable and say, you know what, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I'm hurting. You know, this is what's frustrating me. You know, this is what's going on in my home. You know, like, and I wanted to create that environment. And I was able to do that a number of years ago. And I started in small groups. You know, you, brother, one of my very first participants, man, you and a small group of friends, man, we would get together, we would kick it. You probably remember those sessions.
Of course.
We would just have real talk. And it just began to grow from there. But, you know, I'm a firm believer, and you probably share this belief as well, that when men get into their rightful positions as leaders and protectors and providers, I'm a firm believer that when men change, the atmosphere around them automatically changes. When we get in order, when we walk in God's purpose, when we get in alignment with God, our homes change, our communities change, our world changes. So I want to be the person that impacts that particular demographic. Because when you can reach a few men, literally you can reach the world.
That's it. Man, I told you y'all were in for a treat. I kind of warned you all, but I don't think you all listened. Listen. I have Reginald Gant, an author, a speaker, a servant leader, HR specialist. We haven't even talked about the career side of things. About service. We haven't talked about the books that he has written. We're going to talk about those books. Hey, for all of our guests who are watching, if you are watching, thank you all so much for joining in, for tuning in. If you are listening or watching at a later date, thank you so much for just tuning in and watching. Again, if you are watching and you want me to see your comment and share your comment on the screen so Reggie can see it, please watch on the Fuel by Generosity Global podcast page or the Generosity Global page. Barb's, I see your comments. Hey, I'll share this, Reggie. She says, it's hard to understand it sometimes, and it's often, I often ask myself, why do I always want to serve others? I finally realize it's a gift, and it's put there by God. Let's keep serving.
Yeah.
That is powerful. So please make sure you leave your comments on the Generosity Global page or the Fuel by Generosity podcast page, so that way we can share it on the screen. Everybody can see it. We can engage with you and just continue to bring the energy. Reg, we haven't talked, so service, know, it's a broad term, but you actually have probably trademarked it and the acronym SERVE.
Yeah, man.
Let's go deeper into the word serve and how you have been using those 5 letters to build up men and build up the community.
Man, so over the years, man, it's just been transforming. So I'm gonna drop 3 on you, man. And I don't know if you got a seatbelt on that chair, bro.
Let's go. Do y'all have your seatbelt? I kind of have the insight because I've been following that. They may not be ready. Let's go.
Man. So the very first one, when I wrote my very first book, it was called Serve Yourself to Greatness, right? That was a book of affirmations for men. When I broke serve down that way, that stood for seek excellence, respect, value every day. Right? And the reason why I chose those words, because I believe in the heart of all hearts, right? All men strive to be excellent. And if you're going to do anything, and this is how we raise our children, Either you want to be excellent at it, or don't even waste your time doing it. Like, you want to be excellent at what you do. So every day you should be seeking excellence.
Yes, sir.
Right? And that R stands for respect. Now, respect is something that you give, but it's also something that you receive in return. So when
Yes,
I say seek respect, the very first thing that I'm talking about, as soon as we wake up, right? One of the very first things that we should be saying is thank you, Lord. Right? Because He's given us grace for another day. So we want to respect that new set of 24 hours by using our gifts, our time, our talents, our abilities, our resources, right, to make this world a better place.
Yes,
That's
sir.
the respect part. So when I say seek respect, that's what I'm talking about. Respect what God has given you and turn around and add substance to this world. And then that V is value. Things and people should always be better after an encounter with you.
Woo!
So if you interact with somebody and they walk,
Wait. Say that again. Come on.
things and people.
You just can't say it and just leave, man. Come on, say that again, brother.
Look, everybody, things and people should always be better after an encounter with you. That's how you know you've added value, Rich. Right? So that's the first acronym: serve, seek excellence, respect, value every day. And then over time has grown, as I mentioned earlier, I touched on it slightly. I'm proudly serving as the men's ministry leader at our church, the House of Worship here in the Randallstown, Maryland area.
Yeah.
So when I'm in that circuit and I'm talking about serve, I break it down a little differently, and it stands for spiritual excellence reproduces value everywhere.
See, you had a remix. I don't even know, man. You got a remix on that.
I got a remix to the remix, bro. So that serve, when I'm talking to men of faith, right? I'm talking about being spiritually excellent. And why would we want to be spiritually excellent? Because that reproduces value everywhere we go. As a man of faith, if I'm excellent and you're watching me, you're going to model what I'm doing. And then you're going to take what I'm doing, and you consciously and unconsciously are going to end up doing that in the environments in which you find yourself. Right? So spiritual excellence reproduces value everywhere. That's serve number 2. And then serve number 3, is the one that I really get excited about. And the S stands for speak it. So the Bible says, speak those things that are not as if they were. The E stands for expect it. So after you speak it, expect that God is going to show up and show out. Right? Then the R stands for receive it. After you speak it, you expect it, God's going to give it to you.
Man, you are blessing people. Go on.
You receive it, right? And then that V, here we go with that value word again, right? After you spoke it, after you expected it, after you receive it, I mean, how dare us not value that thing that we've asked for that has been given to us, right? So we value it. And then that last E, and this is what I want to say to the whole Fueled by Generosity podcast. This last E applies to all of us. It's our job to turn around and empower someone else to do the same.
Wow.
So we speak it, we expect it, we receive it, we value it, we empower others to do the same.
Wow.
And that's my motto, bro. That's how I live my life.
I don't even know how to. I mean, I know you're not seeing comments, but I'm getting, my God, I'm being blessed. My God, that's right. Like, I have my notebook out taking notes, man. God, I mean, Reggie, like, seriously, what shaped these thoughts in your mind, and why did you feel there was a need for these particular words to be spoken, to be given, to be added, to be invested and deposited into men?
Yeah. It's all God, man. It was a dream. When God began to whisper into my ear in 2009 that I would be a leader of leaders, that I would be a leader of men, I'll never forget. It was a few months later. I woke up from a dream and I just heard the Lord say, serve. And I didn't know what serve meant, brother. I'm not even going to lie. But I wrote it down. One of the things that I used to do that I've gotten away from actually is journaling. But I woke up from that particular dream and the Lord said, serve. And I wrote serve down. And then I began to pray on it. And I began to wonder what serve was. But I'm also a man that, when God begins to speak, he'll continue to speak, right? As long as we're attentive, as long as we slow down enough to listen.
Yeah.
And then he began to drop into me. You're going to be serving men. You're going to be serving leaders. You're going to be serving in your home. And real talk, Rich, let me share this, man. So when I wrote this book right here, Serve Yourself to Greatness, right?
Put it up, brother. Put it up.
This book right here, this is my first book, and I released it back in 2015. And let me share this epiphany, man, because my wife and I were talking about it the other day, and it just blew us away. I literally thought that I was writing this 30-day book of affirmations for men, right? So this book, Serve Yourself to Greatness, you get 30 affirmations. It's backed up by 30 scriptures, but then you get 60 challenging questions that's going to push men to go to that next level. So at the end of the journey, what you have is, 30 days of affirming yourself. We know that it takes 21 days to break a habit. You've spoken life over yourself, your family, your situations for 30 days. You've backed that up with 30 days of scripture. You've backed that up with 60 challenging questions. You have no choice but to be great on the back end. But lo and behold, right, when I wrote this book, I thought that I was writing this book so that I can help other men serve themselves to greatness. As I was sitting in my, in my office studying, probably a couple of weeks ago, and I'm holding my 2-year-old in one arm, and I'm holding the baby in the other arm, and I'm just sitting there like, man, God, this is such a blessing. God said to me, you thought that you were writing Serve Yourself to Greatness for others, but the whole time I wanted you to write Serve Yourself to Greatness because it's about you being the greatest that you can be for this legacy that I've given you.
Woo!
So I sat back and I said, man, so this whole greatness mission, this whole greatness talk is not just for other men. God has given me 4 sons who look up to me, Rich, and how dare I go out here and talk about being great, and I can't show my sons what greatness looks like.
My.
Yeah. So I was like, wow. Yeah. Wow. So Serve Yourself to Greatness for me is a mission for men and fathers and husbands everywhere. We owe it to ourselves and our families to be the best that we can be.
Reggie, I mean, literally, you are bringing it. You're bringing it. You are dropping some dimes. You're dropping some inspiration. I have a question again. I can't, Bob's, thank you for watching on my page, and I thank you for the question. She has a question for you, Reg, and she says, how do we women support a man walking in this journey and respect their gift? That's the question.
Amazing question. How do you support your man? That's an amazing question. So it's a combination of things. But first of all, your continuous prayers. Covering that man is going to be very important. But what really fires me up, Rich, and for all of the women that are listening, whether you have a spouse or whether you're dating or engaged or whatever, what really fires me up is when I know that no matter what I do, my wife has my back and she's 100% supportive. If I want to make a decision to go out there and take a leap into a brand new territory and I'm afraid, and I can hear my wife say, you know what, baby, I'm behind you 100%, no matter what happens. That is the key to unlocking potential in your man. Because now he knows that not only, can he get over the hump, but he has someone who's going to support him even when the times get a little tough. And Rich, you and I know about toughness. It's not always going to be easy. This journey is not designed to be easy. It's supposed to be a roller coaster ride. You're supposed to have the ups, right? Because you can't enjoy success without enjoying failure. They go hand in hand, right? Woe is the man that think they just gonna go straight to success without ever experiencing anything. But to that question right there, that was an amazing question. You affirm your man, you pray over your man, you cover your man, but you let your man know, I am here 100%, whatever you need from me. And you mean that. Don't just give him lip service and then your actions be like, right? Actually say it, believe it, and show it to be true. Allow that man to vent to you when he needs to. If that man is frustrated and he's asking for a little bit of space in that moment, give that man his space. But affirm him by telling him, that you believe in him, and then showing him that you're there with him and for him when he needs you. Because men will get vulnerable, but guess what, Rich? Only when they feel safe.
True. And it is so key for men, for them to actually feel safe to start talking about anything. If they don't have that safety, thought of safety or just that safe space, nothing is coming out. And Bob's, that's such a timely question, just because again we live in a space where we are, men and women, and again we are all, I believe, in a home where the man and the woman have the ability to lead each other. And sometimes, the husband would take the front seat. Sometimes the wife would take the front seat. Not saying that we're reversing those roles, but it's all about understanding how we can serve one another. Absolutely. In the seasons that we find ourselves in. Sometimes one person may be a little bit stronger in a given season. Yep. And so we have to be cognizant and tune into the season that we are in, and saying, you know what, I trust my spouse enough, my wife, my husband enough to lead me through this season, and in serving them and in submitting to them, we will make it out together. And that in itself is power. It's magic. It's impactful. Let's continue to build on, because that was the first book.
Yeah.
Right?
The first
and then
one.
there's a second book.
Absolutely. So after I dropped Serve Yourself to Greatness, being a man, being a father, being a husband, right? The second book that I dropped, I don't really talk about too much, don't really share too much, it's called Serve Your Children to Greatness. And at that time, our boys were a lot younger. So that book is designed for children elementary school age and younger. Actually, you probably can go into middle school with it. But Serve Your Children to Greatness really it's a phenomenal tool, because I built it to bond the parents and children. So it's kind of like the child was learning to read. So the child will read the book and the affirmation to the parent. And then there's some prayer in there, and there's some story time in there. So there are questions that I ask, and again, it's one affirmation a day. But there's some questions that I ask where, the parent has to tell a story about a time when, or about a time that, blah, blah, blah. So what it does is it allows the child to build up their reading. It allows the child to speak that affirmation out loud themselves, but it also allows the parent to give a real life example of how they have maybe overcome or maybe have struggled with that particular affirmation. And then at the end, I actually leave a few words that you can actually begin to have a prayer. So the parent and child will actually pray together. It was designed that they do that before bedtime. So, I believe once men get right, again, we turn immediately to our family, right? We turn immediately to our spouse and to our children, and make sure that we begin to get them to their greatness levels as well, because that's our legacy.
Yeah. And why do you feel it's so important to get it right with the kids at such a young age?
And the enemy wants our children rich, and it's crazy because we're watching something right now, in our household, and we discuss it at the dinner table every night. We have about 20 to 60,000 thoughts per day.
Yeah.
Right? And if you really step back and look at that, first of all, that's a lot of thoughts.
A lot.
Secondly, not many of those thoughts are positive, man. And the statistics on those 20 to 60,000 thoughts broke it down that about 90% of those are negative thoughts, Rich, right? So when you began to pour into your children early and instill in them, first of all, the belief in who they are, you're a child of God, you're a warrior, you're a victor, the whole 9 yards. But when you begin to pour affirmations into the children early, we know that when life is going to happen to them, right, that they're going to need a foundation to stand on. So in the house is very important for us as parents to begin to solidify that foundation. So you have to begin to tell your children, like, look, you're handsome, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're intelligent. I love your black skin, right? Things like that. Because when they leave the comforts of home and they go out into a world, the world might say, I hate your black skin.
Wow.
You're ugly. You're too short, right? And what happens is if their foundation is weak, they're going to crumble. If we build up that foundation and somebody say, hey, you're ugly, and you've already solidified your child and how they feel about themselves, they're going to be like, who are you talking about? Not me. I'm handsome.
Yeah.
I'm beautiful. My parents have told me that, and that's what I believe to be true for me. And we know because the enemy wants our children, we have to make sure that we guard our children even more.
Absolutely, bro. I mean, it is the number one mandate as a parent. And Bob said, it took the thoughts out of my head. Like, it was a time where we depended on Sunday school to teach our kids, like, how to be right, be right with God or whatever, how to live life.
Yeah.
But in today's day and age, in today's time, the household, the dinner table, the homework time, the one-on-one engagement with that child or those kids is so essential. Parents are the number one teachers. And I think in the season that we are in right now with COVID, that has brought it to light that we cannot just sit by and let somebody else take control of our kids' education, on building up their self-esteem, on making them strong and building that foundation. We, as parents, have to serve our children and lay down that foundation that they can stand on and grow big and mighty and strong and be people of impact and be people of influence and be people who serve others.
Absolutely.
That's what we're building, bro. That's what we're building.
And I want to encourage men really quickly, right? If you're watching, obviously we know that COVID-19 has been a global pandemic that has been unlike anything that we've seen in our lifetime. And there's been a lot of negativity, right? A lot of death, a lot of sorrow behind it. But I challenge men right now, right, to look at the positive side. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Rich. I've been fortunate enough to be able to work from home the entire pandemic. This is the most time that I've spent with my wife and my children ever, right? So, yeah, there's always going to be a negative way to look at a thing, right? But can you find the silver lining? Can you find something positive? What I found to be true is that since I've been home, just my presence alone has made a difference, right? Since our children have been home, my wife and I, and what we're able to do, what we're able to teach and instill in them has been drastically different, because guess what? Now we shape it. We start our day with devotions. We start our day with prayer, right? We're praying at night. We're praying at the dinner table, right? Because we're all in the same household. We get to drip on them, not just in the morning before school and then send them off to school. And then you know how it is when everybody comes home, they got to hurry up and do their homework. They got to hurry up and do dinner. They got to get a little reading time. They got to get a little playtime. Then you hurry them up off the bed. Now, because we're home all day long, we get to pour into them all day, right? Every day. And I love it. So I challenge everybody to, use this time that you have with your loved ones and begin to make it impactful, because it's very beneficial, Rich.
Amen. I agree on all of that. As a father of 3 boys, and somebody who was constantly in some activity, just constantly on the go. What I found is the time that I can slow down and invest in these boys is invaluable. My wife gave me this word that brought so much peace to my heart, and it was more or less like, because of my activities locally and internationally, not always being there, and sometimes having long nights, long meeting, all of that stuff, I'm not there most of the time. And I was like, I had that guilty conscience of not being there enough. And she's there. And she said, you know what? Between now and the ages of 13, they are mine. Okay. They're mine. Mama Bear is going to be there.
Got it.
These boys are going to be turned over to you.
That's right.
For you to basically position them
to be men.
Yeah. Right. And so now, we are molding them. Right. They, mommy is giving them that spirit to nurture them, to teach them how to be servants, how to be humble, how to be gentle, how to be kind. That emotional side. Us, man, we are out there. We are lions, man. We're trying to, right. So, but there's that space where again, we talk behind the scenes about having that partnership in that relationship where everybody is fully invested in the success of these kids. We can do a whole different segment about serving kids and getting kids in service. That in itself is where my heart is, because as Eric and I continue to build our legacy and continue to, plant our seeds and watch them grow. It's just all about what can we do to make sure if we can pour everything we can pour into position these boys to be great citizens, great global citizens. We know without a shadow of a doubt that our job has been fulfilled, right?
Yeah.
So that, again, like I said, we can talk about, serving kids, but I want to jump to the next book. But before we go to the next book, I want to thank everybody who's watching the show today. Give us some likes, give us some love, share the show, comment so that way we can share with Reggie, and also make sure you tune in every Wednesday at 4:30. We are here. We are talking about using the power of generosity, using the power of service to impact the world, to change the world, to inspire, to encourage, to transform people and transform the community. And before, I know there's a third book, but before we go on that third book, if you look under the screen, there's a website right there. I just want to tune your minds right now. Go to that website and you can learn everything you need to learn about Reggie, the books, how you can buy your book, how you can support him, how you can, if you need him to speak at some men event and even a women event, because he's spoken at countless women events because one thing I know is like women love when this man speaks that language that inspires and gets them thinking about the right order. So if you need to like book him, please go to that website. He is there, but not taking away the thunder, man. There's this new book that you just released.
Yeah, man.
That just came out. And again, it's all built on this foundational principle of service. Let's talk about it. Put a plug for it. Tell people about the book. Show us the book. Absolutely. How can we get it? And what is the benefit of this book?
Look, man, let me just go ahead.
You got the shirt.
Man,
my goodness.
Unleashed, right?
Your greatness unleashed. Talk about that.
So, Rich, man, this honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. This book has been traveling across the country. First of all, it's just been a blessing. Your greatness unleashed. I wrote because I feel that is the reason as to why all of us were created in the first place. God has created and planted seeds of greatness inside of each and every one of us. We were given those seeds of greatness at birth, right? So the whole goal of our existence is not to be regular. It's not to be average. It's not to be status quo. It's not to just go to your 9 to 5 or run your business and then come home and then turn the TV on and then wither away. Your greatness unleashed is literally why God has created you. And I love this book, man, because this is my biggest book so far. So it's 30 chapters, brother. And what I've really done is I've taken greatness and I've broken it down, several different ways. So 20 of the 30 chapters are all dedicated to greatness. But those other 10 chapters, you actually get an inside peek as to who Reginald Gant is, right?
Okay.
You get a journey, with me from my childhood all the way up to the man that you see today, and Rich, I've been blessed to train, it's one thing, right? When you can turn on YouTube and you can watch somebody like, Les Brown or Dr. Sidney Trim, right? But it's a whole new ball game when you actually training on stage with these folks as well. So my wife and I, we went from watching Dr. Cindy Trim and watching Les Brown to training right alongside Les Brown and Cindy Trim. So I've had that opportunity, man. We've been blessed to be able to earn a BMW. I remember growing up, I always wanted a BMW. Our home-based business allowed us to get that, and it was on their dime, right? And you're talking about a young Black kid who grew up in East Baltimore, Northeast Baltimore to be exact, who was always shy, never really wanted to talk. And I've proudly trained probably close to 40, 50,000 employees across federal government agencies, right? Here in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. So over the years, none of this was my doing, by the way, Rich. Yeah. All God, right? So this Your Greatness Unleashed is really all about the journey that we all have to go through to get to where God has created us to be. Abundance is ours for the taking, right? If you look at the world and the way that it's structured, Rich, this world is abundant. While you and I are doing this podcast right now, somebody's floating $1 million check somewhere, right? Somebody's dropping a $250 million deposit upon somebody else right now, as
Right
we
now.
right? So this world is abundant. So this journey, Your Greatness Unleashed, is all about us unlocking that potential within us,
Yeah.
showing up the way that we're supposed to show up in this world. And you and I know that when we show up, we unconsciously give other people the same permission to do the same thing. You know, you inspire me, Rich. So when I see you showing up, guess what? It makes me want to show up even more.
Yeah.
And for the person that's on the fence, you know, if you're fearful of showing up, when you get around somebody like Rich, or you get around somebody like his wife or myself, you know, hopefully that energy, you know, can spill onto you. And through our examples, through our trials, our tribulations, our successes, our wins, you can see too that this journey of greatness is yours for the taking, right? But you know, Rich, it all starts right here.
Yeah.
It
The
all
mind.
starts right here. And I
The
talk
mind.
about that in the book as well.
That is I mean, that is big, man. Showing up is so important. And then, you know, for me, see, I live my life in such a simple way. My vision, my goals, my aspiration for me, my desire is to simply inspire as many people as possible. You know, for me, the ingredients are just hard work, commitment to vision, persistency, staying committed to what you said you're going to commit to, being resilient, right, and refusing to, you know, be defeated in any aspect. Because the thing is, the trials are going to come, the enemy is going to be there, the challenge is going to be there. But if your mind is not set on something bigger, if your mind is not set, if it's just about you, I tell people, if it's just about you, you will give up, you will throw in that towel, and you say, this life is not for me.
Yeah.
Right. But when we have a bigger calling that is bigger than our lives, when we have people who are dependent on us, when we have people who are relying, you know, in my case, with Generosity Global and people in remote villages who we have made promises to, and they are depending on you to bring clean drinking water. They are depending on you to improve their quality of life. When you have somebody here in Baltimore City is depending on you to show up to give them a meal, it becomes more than just what I want to do, but what we need to do, right? And so that, comes that spirit of collectivity, like we need to do this together. And that is the secret that I have found, that when we join hands with like-minded people, with others who are in that same space, then we can impact more, we can do more, right? And we can change and transform the trajectory of a lot of lives that we happen to engage with, interact with, or do life with.
Powerful, brother. Powerful.
Just as that.
Powerful, man. You unpacked a lot, but you know, again, you and I both agree, right? Internal beliefs control external actions. If we don't believe in our minds that we can be great, if we don't believe in our minds that we can have the abundance that other people have, if we don't believe in our minds, right, that our family is worth it, then our external actions will always be mediocre and average, right? So for that person that desires to be greatness, you know, they have to have that internal belief, you know. So one of the questions that I ask is, what do you believe to be true for your life?
Yeah.
What do you believe to be true for your family? And one of the things, right, because you said it, you hit it right on the head. We got to have that big why, right? And the big why has to be bigger than you, has to be bigger than your household, right? So that big why for me, you know, it reminds me, you know, that nobody's going to change my family's legacy if I don't, right? My big why reminds me that there are others literally waiting and depending upon me to show up, right? My big why reminds me that if I don't open up this voice, right, then I won't be able to free other men who are held captive, right? Whether they want to speak it or not. There are a lot of men who are bound up internally, They want greatness. They feel that they're destined for greatness. They don't know where to start. They might not have the support system. They might not have the resources. So they just don't do anything. My why reminds me that if I keep this mouth shut, that those people will not be able to be freed up, right? And how selfish of me, right? To neglect what God has given me, my gifts. And if you think about what a gift is, gifts are meant to be given away. Nobody has a gift to keep it, right? We give gifts away. So when God has given us the gift of inspiration, the gift of encouragement, the gift of hard work and persistency, it's up to us to give it away to other people. And that unlocks our greatness, and that unlocks the potential in them to begin their journey towards greatness as well. So this book, brother, is my greatest work yet, man. Somebody spoken to me that this book could literally be $1 million. I'm sorry. I could sell 1 million copies of this book globally.
Let's go for it.
And I really feel like that could be true.
Let's go for it. I mean, brother, it is beyond, what we think and what we believe and what we work for. It's just a matter of manifestation. And like I told you, it's all about being aligned with the right people, with the right space, with the right community, with the right input that makes these things come to pass. There's a comment that just came in that I want you to speak on this. There's somebody, Goretti, she says, I'm scared to dream big most times. I know I shouldn't. I know I should, but when I start, the doubts come racing to the forefront.
Yeah. All right. So for that person, Proverbs chapter 23, verse 7. And this is one of the scriptures that I kicked out this morning, within my household. As a man or woman thinks in his heart, so is he. So it says, as a man thinks, so is he. So what that means, for that caller that said that, and I appreciate your transparency. As you think, right, in your heart, what's in our heart? Our feelings, our beliefs. So as you think and as you believe and feel, so you become. So to that person, what you're thinking about is fear. Your fear is turning into beliefs. And if you believe that you are fearful and you will always be afraid to take that first step, you will never take that first step. So again, when we talk about mindset, right, our internal beliefs control our external actions. Literally, and I promise you, and it's going to be scary, you have to have enough courage, enough tenacity, enough persistency. And, courage is that key word in this equation, Rich, to take step number one. You have to. You have to have enough courage to take that first step, to show fear that you will not reside over me. Every day that we wake up, it's always going to be two giants battling in our mind. And don't get me wrong, Rich is super successful. I've been blessed to accomplish so many things. But don't think for a second that this man or myself don't have fears, right? It's just that we know how to use the fears and leverage it in such a way that it doesn't stop us.
Yes, sir.
So I said this to say, every day that we wake up, and this is everybody, whether it's children or adults, there's going to be that fear talking on one side, and there's going to be that faith talking on the other side. And the one who wins is the one that gets the most attention, right? Energy grows where energy goes, right? Energy goes where energy goes. One of the two. So if you're going to be focusing on your fears are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you won't ever make a move. But if you feed it with faith, if you say, you know what, I'm going to win, I'm going to do it. And this is the mindset that you need to have. I don't lose. Either I win or I learn, right? I win or I don't believe in losing at all. What did I learn from this particular situation that I can apply the next time? So you never lose. You win or you learn, right? But to that caller, that person that left that comment, as you think and feel, so you become. You have to begin to affirm yourself. You have to begin to pour in affirmations where you begin to have an internal belief system that there's nothing that can bump up against you that can stop you from what God has designed for you. I totally believe that there is not a person on this world that can stop us from becoming what we desire to become, Rich. I wholeheartedly believe that. Nobody can stop a man or woman that does not quit, period. Right? So to that person, Proverbs 23:7, and I want you to begin to study affirmations and scriptures that talk about the mind and the heart.
Yeah.
Because what we think and what we feel control everything. If we have thoughts that are negative, negativity comes. If we have thoughts that are fearful, fear comes. But when we begin to shift that paradigm and we begin to have powerful thoughts, and we're talking about our faith and we're building ourselves up, it doesn't matter what comes our way, it bounces off.
Yeah.
You know, and you know about it, brother.
No, serious. I mean, you spoke the words, you spoke it, you put it in there. And I personally, I'm on this journey of building up people and building up this community of where it goes, it's like, we don't lose. We either learn or we win. And when I say we, it's like I'm invested in this community of people where we have each other's back, where we are there to encourage each other, where we are there to support each other, where we are there to push each other. Because the reality is there will be that time where you can't carry that load by yourself, but you need another man, another woman, another brother, another person to come next to you and help you lift it. From a business standpoint, sometimes we're making deals and we don't have enough funding to cover that. I need to be able to call somebody in my circle and say, I need XYZ. Please make it happen. And you know what they say? Worry not. It's going to be there. It's taken care of, right? We don't lose. What lessons did we learn? And how can we build on those lessons? How can we become stronger people from what we learned? How can we make sure that the circumstances that we just went through does not repeat itself? And if we actually see it coming, we said, we have seen you before. We've played this tape before. We are good to go. We have this foundation. We have this preparation in our arsenal, and we can use that to build, collectively. See, I am, there's nothing as beautiful as building together with people who are in good faith. Yeah. Because I've been in spaces where not everybody is in good faith, right? Not everybody is on that mission. And one thing I've come to understand is eventually that person eliminates themselves, or those people eliminate themselves. So they're weeded out. So you always have to position yourself in the spaces that you are meant to be and align yourself with the people that you are meant to be aligned with. And everything else follows its natural order in life. And so you don't have to go chasing, searching, begging, pulling. At the end of the day, my mission, our mission, my goal, my vision, my desire is to serve humanity. And so right now I am all about aligning myself and aligning my mission, aligning the generosity with people who have that same thought process, who are all aligned into how can we use our gifts? How can we actually re-gift the gifts that were given to us to bless others? How can we use that to be a blessing to those who we have been called to serve, brother? Oh my gosh, you got me fired up. I think this is the most fired up I've been on this show. I think it's the most fired up. I think we've gone from, generosity to inspiration to motivation to name it. But I am beyond blessed, just because I know our audience is blessed. I can see the comments. Unfortunately, you can't see it because they're commenting directly on my page. But overall, it has been been fulfilling. And you know what? We got time. We're over an hour, but we got time. I want to land because everything in totality comes to this one thing that I believe we were put here on this planet to do. And, for me, I think before we leave this earth, before we leave this planet, before, our time is out, before our race is finished, it's all about impact. Speak to me, tell us, connect the dots for us, how impact plays a role in everything.
Absolutely. So, I mean, impact is the reason why we are all here in the first place. And I'm going to speak specifically to those that are married right now, because, that's my situation. My wife and I have a beautiful family. right?
They got a situationship.
We got a whole situationship with 5 children, man, and I love everything about it. So I'm going to speak to married couples right now, right? And I just want to drop this wisdom into your spirit that there's magic and power and getting on one accord with your spouse and doing the word and the will of God, right, through your marriage, not only to impact your local household, but to, sorry about that, hit the mute button, to impact your family outside of your house and also on the global scale. So I believe that there's power in oneness, right? So for those that are married right now, it's going to be utterly critical for you and your spouse to begin to sit down and engage in conversations where you align your passions, your wills, your desires with their passions, their wills, and their desires, and you begin to figure out how you can serve collectively. Because what's going to happen is that collective unity is going to raise itself up. And before you know it, it's going to be on the global scale, right? God has really designed marriage for oneness, but so that his will can be fulfilled right through that couple to the world. So impact is going to be very important for those that are married to work with your spouse hand in hand. But for those of us that are not married just yet, right? Does that mean that you're any less impactful? Absolutely not, right? But again, greatness is a decision. You have to decide. You have to decide, right? And this is one of the things that I unpack in the book, right? Greatness, Rich, greatness is not the destination, right?
No, sir.
Greatness is the journey. It's the journey, because what I love about my life is that when I look back, I remember being a teenage father. I remember when people wrote me off. I remember I was supposed to be a statistic. I wasn't supposed to make it. I remember when I wasn't supposed to graduate from college, right? Because I was a teenage father, because I was a black male, because I grew up in Northeast Baltimore. And now I look at my life and I have a beautiful wife and I'm a college graduate and we have businesses and we've traveled this country and this world and we speak and we just pour into others. Greatness is about that journey. I love who I'm becoming, right? And I say becoming because I have not became.
Mm.
And then we apply Romans 8:28, right? God has not finished yet, right? So greatness is a decision that you have to decide that you want. Everybody's not cut out for being great. Let's be honest, Rich. Everybody's not going to be LeBron James, right? There are going to be a billion other people who go to the NBA that will not be remembered. But certain individuals have made a decision that no matter what happens, this is what I want to be true. And I've told myself along the way that, my legacy is our marriage, brother, is about our great grandchildren, right? The prayers that we pray right now in this household are for children that have not yet been born, right? So how dare me not decide to be great, because what I'm doing is I'm handicapping the life that they get to start off at, right? Greatness is a decision that you have to make. And when the trials and tribulations of life come, you have to say, you know what? I'm willing to get into the ring. I'm willing to get knocked out, but I'm willing to get back up. And the journey is what matters, right? The power of decision making is what matters. What do I believe to be true for myself and my family? At the end of the day, you have to tell yourself, you know what? We are worth it. Right? And those days and times when I don't feel like serving, because don't get me wrong, they come.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the energy, when I don't have the strength, I sit there and I remind myself that, you know what? God has called me. God has mandated me. God has given me an obligation. God has given me a responsibility. God has gifted me. How dare I be selfish and cut off the blessings of someone else because I don't feel like it? How dare me, right? So greatness is that decision, and you have to decide that here. And then that decision here transfers to your heart. And then that leads to your actions. And you can say, I want to be great all day long. But if you coming home and you plopping down on that TV and you watching TV for the next 5, 7, 10 hours, you're not going to be great. Let's be honest about it, right? Greatness comes from taking your hours and engaging it with purpose, right? I study all the time, Rich. I'm always reading. I'm always writing. I'm always trying to figure out a better way to be better, right? I'm engaging my time with purpose. That's what greatness is. Greatness is when the world is out there doing their thing and you're delaying instant gratification, right? Everybody wants success right now. They want that microwave success, right? That Instagram success, right? But those that are great, those who are super successful, they've been patient, they've been building, they've been sowing, and then when that harvest comes, brother, that harvest comes in like a tsunami, right?
Yes,
That's
sir.
they made the decision. You know what I love about you, Erica, bro? Y'all not new to what y'all been doing. This goes back 10, 15, 20 years. Folks are just now catching on to what you've been doing. You laid seeds for this work 10, 15, 20 years ago. That was a decision that you made 15, 20 years ago. And now harvest is here. And that's what we have to do. When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. Because now you can see it. Now it's fully rooted. It's unstoppable. So for that person, and you're still on the fence, right? Plant that seed today.
That's it.
Future.
Yeah. I mean, the word, like, I don't even want to add to it, man, because I think I would dilute it. But if there's one, and Reg is going to get the final, give us a final call to action. But again, I cannot stress enough, take action. And one thing I always personally, for me, I try to do is be relatable to anybody who's going like, look, I'm just a regular man. I'm not saying anything special about me or anything. But one thing I know is when I take action, things happen. And by doing that, I pray that it shows somebody else that it's okay to take action on your part. And it's okay if you stumble. But the most important thing, and I use it for every post I make, is keep going. No matter what, keep going. Rest if you must. Relax if you must, but never give up. Keep going. Start with that first step, take another step, and keep going. And the destination is not the end all be all. The destination is not where you will find happiness, but you actually find happiness when you take that step and you see like, oh my God, I can do it.
I can do it.
I can do it. I can wave by. I can say hi, and I'm still walking. And guess what? When you do that, other people join along. You inspire others to come in and do it. Brother, we have been on this for 72 minutes.
I love it.
72 minutes. We can go for another hour. I'm sure they want us to go for another hour, but I got to be able to put to sleep.
Got it.
As we wrap up and as we bring this plane, as we enter this tarmac and we want to land this plane, I want you to, and I'll close after you speak. I want you to give us a final word, a call to action, some words of affirmation, something that our audience can chew on and digest on and reflect on until the next Fueled by Generosity podcast.
I love it. So what I'm gonna do, Rich, I'm gonna hit him again with the 3 serves.
Yes, sir.
And your greatness unleashed. So this, if I had to say anything to close, first of all, I appreciate you, Rich. I appreciate your wife. This opportunity, this platform is amazing. I'm super proud to call you brother. I mean that. But to everybody watching, thank you for tuning in. Serve yourself to greatness is your mandate. It's your responsibility. So if you have your pens handy, serve, seek excellence, respect, value every day. Chase excellence daily. Respect the time that God has given you by not wasting it. Add value to things and people around you every day. Serve number 2. When you're spiritually excellent, that reproduces value every day. You have to work on your spirit. You have to work on your faith. You have to work on your beliefs. When you're spiritually excellent, no matter where you find yourself, you will reproduce value. Serve number 3. Speak what you want. Expect it to happen. Receive it graciously. Value it when God drops it into your lap. And then turn around and empower somebody else with it. And then last but not least, Rich, your greatness unleashed, and I want everybody to really remember this, is the reason why you are born. Your greatness unleashed is what the world is waiting on. But the question that I ask you is, how long will you keep us waiting?
drops the mic, walks out. Folks, I have nothing else to add. I don't want to add nothing else. I am full. I hope you are full. Thank you all so much for joining us on today's episode of the Fuel by Generosity podcast. Again, this is going to be live on my page, on the Fuel by Generosity Global page. On YouTube, we're going to have a link that is ready for tomorrow. Please share this podcast, share this show. There is a lot of breakthrough that is going to happen because Reginald showed up. He made a decision to show up today because there's somebody in here that needed to hear what he had to share. Overall, we thank you all so much for being part of our audience. We thank you all so much for making a decision to act on your gifts, on your greatness. We thank you all for the decision to serve others. Because there's no greater thing that you can do than to serve others. And when you serve others, greatness is literally right around the corner. So thank you all. Thank you all for tuning in. It's your boy Rich with Generosity Global. Make sure you log on to our website, check us out, show up to Selfless Saturday, and make sure you visit Serve4Men.com and support my brother and let him continue to spread the word out there. We are out. We'll see you all next time. Peace.